right. Hello, everybody. And on behalf of Clients First Business Solutions, I'd like to welcome you to our Lunch and Learn presentation of ProMRO. My name is Bob Turner. I am on the sales team for Clients First, and I'll be introducing our presenter today, Micah Mitchell. She's our ProMRO specialist. Also joining us today is Nancy Philippi, who is our sorry, I was trying to switch slides. ProMRO, our sales and marketing manager. Now, during our presentation, if you have any questions, please open up the Q&A box and we'll address as many questions as we can online during the presentation, or you are welcome to reach out after the webinar, or we will also reach out to you and answer questions if we weren't able to get them during our time together today. One of the questions that usually comes up is pricing, so keep in mind that it will depend on your specific company requirements. The solution is modular, so we can start with basics and add more bells and whistles as your company and business grow. Whoops, I went one too far. Now, I'm not in the habit of reading slides during presentations, but I do want to point out the highlighted area. This is a quote from STS Aviation Group, and they said that ProMRO leverages core ERP project accounting for the maintenance repair organization across CRM, estimating, work orders, technical management, tooling, inventory, purchasing, receiving, and general ledger. That's a mouthful. That's because it encompasses a lot. This system really does handle a lot, many portions of your business. So earlier this week, I was in a meeting with our team to discuss a new module that we have in development, and the conversation took a rather deep and technical dive. You know, it's always amazing to me what developers can accomplish, but my challenge was during that conversation, I realized that I just didn't understand the overall concept of the product of what problems that it solved that we were discussing. So when I sat down to do the opening remarks for this presentation, I decided to start with a 10,000-foot view. And first of all, starting with what is ProMRO? So ProMRO is designed for companies that perform maintenance, repair, and overhaul for aviation or heavy equipment. The needs of a ProMRO are similar to that of a job shop, but there are additional and unique challenges. First of all, when a unit is received for repair or overhaul, it needs to be inspected and an estimate needs to be created. Now, traditionally, this has been a big choke point for a lot of these organizations. You need a qualified tech that needs to accept the unit for tracking, diagnose the issue, and recommend services. A service or sales quote then needs to be created, and this can involve shopping for parts, estimating hours, and assigning tools. And from that point, depending on your processes, it could go to sales or the appropriate staff that needs to monetize the quote, add in profit, and or send it off to the client. Typically, there are several data entry points at this stage, which means the opportunity for several human errors, and it can add unnecessary time to turnaround of the project. So companies also, at this point, become dangerously dependent on the receiving tech. So if that person happens to call in sick that day, that can be a really big headache and bottleneck for the whole company. Now, as in other businesses out there, the companies do not perform repairs for free, right? A successful company not only ensures that there's profit built into these projects, it has to have the ability to track every profitable step. We've got an inspection app coming soon that we'll update you on, but that really is going to make that whole part of the system very slick. ProMRO was designed to address all these issues, and as you'll see in the following demonstration, ProMRO features service profiles or service templates designed to speed up the check-in process, turn around quotes quickly, ensure profitability, and track tools, labor, and costs. And by the way, it is built into a world-class, easy-to-use ERP solution that's designed for the future of the digital economy. I do want to mention that Clients First is constantly leveraging the latest technologies available to add further value to the module. For instance, in the latest version, we're going to be offering biometrics and facial recognition for time tracking on the shop floor. Also coming soon in future releases are an interactive inspection app, catalog manager that allows you to manage multiple vendor catalogs, and tooling app that assigns, tracks, and manages calibration of shop tools. Here is I've got a sneak preview for you folks. You guys get a couple screenshots of what the inspection app is going to look like. This one's a little generic, but we'll be able to take pictures, and you'll be able to mark up pictures of inbound units, and you can start doing markups and making notes for the service quote. And so text down the line know what you were thinking when you processed the project coming in. Also, coming soon is the tooling where we're going to be able to check in, check out with the kiosk. We do have a kiosk piece that is available with the current ProMRO, and in that we're developing the ability to manage the tools. We'll be able to check them out, check them in, associate them with specific jobs, plan calibration, and registration of tools. We do currently have a parts-based integration, which is very nice. It gives you the ability to go out when you're bringing in a project and you're estimating, you can automatically go out and search millions of unique parts on parts-based. What a lot of people don't take into account is you can also post excess inventory that you have in there for sale to boost revenue. We can receive and respond to parts-based RFQs, and we have several customizable dashboards to make it very user-friendly. We do currently offer time tracking, and with facial recognition is coming. I don't think that Micah is going to be able to show that today, but go ahead.
It is available. The facial recognition is available now.
But we may not be able to show it, but it is available. And the primary thing that we don't ever want to assume anybody's doing anything bad, but it helps keep your techs honest. And I think we can all wink and know what that means. And time allocation, once the user clocks in or out, they can go to get their projects allocated. We are going to show the kiosk application. I'm not going to read all this to you because Micah is going to cover all of this during her presentation. Whoops. But what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to get ready to turn this over to Micah for a presentation.
Hi, everybody. I'm Micah, and I'm here to do a quick overview of ProMRO and the kiosk. As Bob mentioned, ProMRO is part of a full ERP solution, including, but not limited to, CRM, time and expenses, finance, projects, payables, receivables, purchasing, sales orders, and more. And you can see all of that down this left-hand menu here, all of the modules. ProMRO is tailored to help aviation repair stations and MROs more easily create quotes and projects or work orders or jobs, however you call it in your industry, to help track job costs by streamlining estimating to project or job creation and creating a real-time connection from the job shop to accounting, so nothing is missed. Today, we are going to review the kiosk and other exciting ProMRO features. There are many benefits to using ProMRO and the kiosk, including control of cost and spend, because you see the real-time information directly from the shop floor as they're entering it into the kiosk. You can speed up your invoicing because all of the information that has been entered along the way into the project or job is there, so it's at your fingertips when you invoice. You have increased accuracy because you're only entering information one time and it flows through the system. You can enter corrective actions, automate substitutions, have pick list and shortage sheets. We also offer ATA chapters for aviation, real-time updates to work orders from the shop floor, which I'm going to show you all of this stuff in a moment, supplemental parts, and also you can utilize the inherent document management to attach FAA or other required documents like material safety data sheets and certificates of conformance. We offer auto printing of 8130s when shipping a sales order. Other forms can be added as required. So if you have other forms that need to be printed, they can be added. Real-time profit tracking on projects with the balances tab. And all of this and more in one easy-to-use app. So keep in mind, I'm going to be showing a lot today. So I'm going to be wearing a lot of different hats during this demo, including sales, estimating, purchasing, shop floor. So that's a lot of hats, but employees or users don't have to wear so many hats. They don't have to see all of these options because there's security roles that can be set up so that they only have access to the screens that they need to use to do their jobs. So let's get started. Here, I'm starting with the salesperson hat, and this is the sales dashboard. By utilizing dashboards, excuse me, this is live and I've been talking all morning. So anyway, by utilizing dashboards, users can work through all of their tasks throughout the day from one dashboard, and they can receive up to the minute information live from the dashboard. So everything's in one place. Dashboards contain a lot of information and reminders. And as we can see on the sales dashboard, we have a robust pipeline, and we can click on different statuses and work the opportunities. This is part of the CRM functionality, but CRM isn't required to create quotes with ProMRO. So you can have CRM and use the functionality, which has some added benefits for sales, like moving prospects through different stages so that they have reasons, trackable reasons for wins and losses, and they can report on those for future reference. So we have also, we have some unsubmitted quotes that we need to process. We might have some quotes that are pending customer approval that we need to follow up on. So we can click into any of these and work directly from this dashboard. So let's go ahead and click on the prospect. So this takes us to a general inquiry or a GI, and we can work this GI from here. So here we have all of the prospects records that made up that one tile on the dashboard, and we can actually open what's called a side panel, and we can work these from here. And notice that on this first one, it doesn't have an owner and it's late. So we can actually open the side panel and we can add an owner from here and just save that. And then we can also expand this so that we can see more information, and we can add a chat or an activity to this directly from that GI. We also have another view, which is the customer view. And on this view, we can see that we have orders that are ready to ship. We have a late order, so we might want to take that into consideration, or if they have some past due invoices, we might need to take that into consideration as we quote this customer. So that's the side panel, which is pretty cool, and it brings everything to your fingertips, and you can just go down the list and work the list. Then we can go back to the dashboard. So back on the dashboard, we can create a new opportunity from here. So if somebody calls, we can just click this and start entering the information for that prospect or that customer, and then create our quotes from there. We can also create new customer equipment. So customer equipment is for tracking all repairs and estimates done for a specific piece of customer equipment. Sorry about that. That basically means that when a customer sends us their piece of equipment or their aircraft to repair, that we can track all estimates and repairs. And then when the customer calls and asks for a serial number that we used on a repair 2 years ago, we can just look up the customer's equipment by serial number or tail number and drill down into that repair to find that serial number. Or if we're tracking repair costs internally to equipment that we're repairing and that we're going to resell, we would have all of that information at our fingertips. The great thing about dashboards is they are interactive, so they aren't just reports with pretty colors. All of these tiles have information behind them, backing them up, and it's all live. So we're completely connected, and we can work this data by clicking on what we want to see. So if we click on the prospect, which we already did, and look at that, we can work that. And there's lots of out-of-the-box dashboards. So there's a big selection of out-of-the-box dashboards. You can modify those dashboards, or you can set up dashboards from scratch. So I'm going to open up another dashboard. I'm going to go to my favorites because I can actually put a star by anything in any of these modules and make it a favorite, so I don't have to go searching around for things. And I'm going to open the MRO dashboard. So the MRO dashboard has different information on it, and we can see how many, for example, we can see how many components we've done per week for 2021. We can also see hours over budget. So if projects are over budget, we could have a tile for those showing up here. We can also see any project invoices pending or tasks planned to start this week. So we have an easy way to plan. We also have RTS dates, which can show up. So if you have aircraft that are due by a certain date, it can give you a warning if you're late or if you're about to be late, so you don't miss your return to service. Now that we know a little bit about the benefits of dashboards, let's put our estimating hat on and look at how easy it is to create an MRO estimate using ProMRO. So I'm going to open the ProMRO module, and I'm going to, you can see a lot of options here. I'm going to go ahead and create a quote for a fleet of aircraft using programs. So I actually already, all you have to do is click the plus sign, but I started one for us, so it'd be a little bit quicker. So I've opened this program, and right here we have the business account and a description, and then we can also indicate the manufacturer and the model and how many aircraft. So this would be a fleet of 20 that we plan on, we're going to do an estimate for, and then the customer can send those aircraft in one by one. And the great thing about this is that we do the estimate for the customer, and we can use this same program every time an aircraft comes into our hangar. We can just create a job directly from this same program, and it'll count down how many aircraft we've done. So we have all of that information here as well at our fingertips. So first off, we've got the information entered about the manufacturer model and how many aircraft we're going to do. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to open up the estimate itself. And this is where the service profiles come into play. Service profiles are templates for repeatable work. So a lot of work that we do as MROs is repeatable. We have C-checks that have the same requirements that we check every time. We might do an oil change, and that has the same type of filters and oil, etc. So basically, service profiles are templates for repeatable work, and you create them in the background, and then you can add them to quotes. And you can add them individually by just clicking them from here, or you can add service packages. So I'm going to start by adding a service package. And for this, you can add multiple packages, but for this one, I'm just going to check one and add it and close. And what this does is that it brings in all of the tasks that I need to do in order to do, for this one, it's a C check for navigation and communication. Basically, these are all of the tasks that need to be done in order to accomplish this repair. So one, we would need the hangar fees. We might have incoming, receiving, inspection. And at the bottom, so this is the task description, at the bottom, the revenue, the expected revenue has come in for each of these tasks and all of the costs. So I'm going to click on the next one down, and you'll see that it's got different costs, and so does this one. So each of these tasks makes up the entire revenue and cost budget. So basically, we have created our work instruction here just by adding our service package. We've created our estimate and our work instruction. And another great thing about this is a template, and this can be added to. So if I needed to add parts in order to do this maintenance, maybe the customer has some specific requirements and I need to add additional parts, or I need to add additional hours, we capture all the costs here, and these can be updated to create an individualized quote for your customer. But it's a really great place to start with the template. All right, so once we've added all of this, and you saw how quick that was, we can take that off hold and release it. And basically that is going to update the program here so that we have our total sales for all 20 aircraft and our total cost for all 20 aircraft. And then we can actually send the quote to the customer. All right, so now that we've quoted our customer, we are going to say that our customer has accepted our estimate and they are going to send us the aircraft. So basically, there's lots of ways to use ProMRO to fit your business. I'm showing one example today. So on that estimate, I did add the predefined package and the customer approved it. So once the customer approves it, what we can do is we can actually release this to a job. When we release this to a job, all of the information that we've entered, if we've made additional notes or attached additional files, either on the header or on the lines, that information will flow through to the job. If we have added additional parts or anything like that, all of that information will flow through to the new job. So all we have to do to create the job is just accept all the services, or if they don't want to accept them all, that's fine too. And then release the shop estimate to the project. And here we would add the customer equipment or the tail number, and all of that would create a project or a job. So once we do that, once the job is created, basically we can move over to the kiosk. So once the job is created, the mechanics can clock into specific tasks on the job and order parts and add their time to the job via the kiosk. So they can either scan printed task cards, which I'll show you the printed task card, or they can search the kiosk for tasks. So here we're going to go to the task card here. And we are going to look up the task card for the job that I already have in progress. And basically this, we can print all of the tasks at one time, or we can do individual task cards. It's up to you, however your shop works. And this task card, these task cards have all of the information that was entered. So from the estimate to the job, once it's a job, then you can print task cards. The task cards will have the aircraft information, tail number, or customer equipment, whichever. What is supposed to be done. They'll have a barcode so that employees can scan in, how many hours, and then the work to be carried out. So once you have the task card, then the employees can go to the kiosk and they can log into the kiosk. So now we're changing hats again, and we're going to be a mechanic on the shop floor. So I'm going to log in, and you can scan your badge, or you can enter your employee number. And once the kiosk comes up, you can see that I have the ability to search tasks. I also have tasks that I'm already clocked into. But let's start out by searching for tasks. So I'm going to search by tail number. And this is going to bring up the project for that tail number, or any projects for that tail number. And then I can click into that project, and I can see all of the tasks for that project. So I've got a non-routine task here. I've got some routine tasks for hangar fees, which we saw in Acumatica, incoming, receiving inspection, instrument check. I can see here that I'm clocked out of this task, or I can add tasks to my task list from this list as well. The other option is I can actually scan. So if I have a number, if I have a barcode, which I don't, so I'll have to type this in, but I can go ahead and scan or enter the number and find the task, and it will add that to my task list so I can start work. So I'm going to go ahead and open a task. And when I open the task, you can see that I have my work instructions here. I can enter corrective action here. So any notes of what the repair was that I did. I can add a non-routine task that is basically if I'm working on this task and I uncover additional work or repairs that need to be done, I would create a non-routine task. And the non-routine task is related to the routine task that it's created from. So basically, I can enter that non-routine task on the fly from the kiosk and not stop working. That non-routine task can go and be approved by the customer or a manager or both. But it doesn't stop me from working. I've just documented that there's another task that needs to be completed. I can also see a list of required parts. I can mark it complete or I can stop work. So basically, I'm gonna go ahead and click the parts request because this is really cool. If I go into the parts request, I can see the status of the parts that are already required, that were indicated that they are already required. They were already on the job. So I can see the status here. So those are picking. That one hasn't been processed yet. And everything else for this specific task is being picked right now. I can also search for parts that I need to add to it from the kiosk. So if I needed a clamp that wasn't on the list, I could search for that clamp and find that clamp and add it to the request. If the part wasn't found, I can also add a part here. So basically, I can tell purchasing, hey, I need this additional part as fast as possible, and put a date in there, and then create a new item request. So that gives me, and then it adds it to my list right here. So that gives me all of the information that I need about parts. Hey, these parts are being picked. So as soon as they're picked, that'll show up that they're picked. And then I can order parts from here. And depending upon your business processes, those new parts can go through an approval process or not. It's up to you. Acumatica and ProMRO are extremely flexible, so we can change things to adhere to your business processes. Now, once I am done with that, I can go back to my task list or go back to my task, and I can enter a corrective action. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy some verbiage here and stick that in there. And then I can sign out. So the kiosk has a lot of power. It's very powerful functionality. Anything that happens on the shop floor can be recorded via the kiosk, and it is uploaded basically to, I mean, it's all interactive, so it's all here on the project. So we're going to go ahead and go back to the project so that we can look at that. And we haven't actually looked at the project, but we are going to look at it now. So the project we were working was Project 82. And the project is the work order or the job, depending upon your verbiage, but it's an umbrella for capturing all of the costs incurred while working the repair and for invoicing the customer. So all of this data and information that you've entered from the quote, from the very beginning, from the quote all the way through to the kiosk and to now, is available for the invoicing part. As you saw, we were able to create the new non-routine task. We were able to order additional parts. We were able to add corrective actions from the kiosk. One thing that we didn't really discuss at all was the fact that the kiosk is also capturing time. So when a tech logs into the kiosk and clocks into a task, that time spent on the job is captured and added directly to this project. So all costs are tracked. We're just going to go through the project a little bit. We can see here that the routine tasks are here, and then this is a non-routine task that had been added. And you can see how it's got the parent, it's got the parent reference here. So it's tied to the parent task. We also have all the description. We also have the corrective action. So the corrective action that we entered at the kiosk level updates here. So all of the information from the kiosk updates here. We have the revenue budget and the cost budget. And then we have a balances tab. The balances tab is like a mini P&L to track all of the project costs and revenue. We can see any of the invoicing that has been done, which we haven't done any yet, or sorry, invoicing that's been done, but we haven't done any yet, any WIP. We can see labor. So we have actual labor here. So those are the hours that were entered and the cost associated with that. We can also see any materials that have been issued to this project so far and any that are on purchase order. So we have committed costs as well that we can track here. And then we can see the performance of where we're at so far. It looks like we probably should have charged a little more money for this project.
Hey, Micah.
Yeah.
Real quick, I didn't mention it in the beginning, but it's important to note that that kiosk is available on iPad, on Android, any type of device that gets the internet. You can use that on the shop floor. Is that correct?
That is correct. Thanks, Bob. That is correct. All right. So that gave me a good water break. Thanks, Bob. That's a lot of talking.
Let me know when you're thirsty again.
I don't have a ton more to cover, but there is a ton more functionality that we won't be covering today because we just can't hit on everything. But I wanted to mention that here you can see also the customer equipment or the aircraft tail number, manufacturer and model. And then we can easily just jump to. So there's a lot of hyperlinks in the system, and we can see the projects if there were more than one that this was associated with. And then we have some aviation information here. And we can also track attributes. So all of that information is at your fingertips at all times. Next, I'm going to go to item requirements. This is where all the materials required for the repair are going to be listed and worked. You can work them directly from the project or job. We can view item availability. So you can either click the button here once you're clicked on one of these, or we have these really nice columns that show the quantity in the project warehouse, which is the warehouse associated with this specific project, the quantity in the item warehouse, and if you can do substitutions, if subs are allowed or not, and if any are available. So basically, what happens with item requirements is you can create purchase orders and requisitions, or you can create a pick list and shortage sheet from this tab. As you can see, all of the items are captured here. Some come from the original estimate and the job that we created. Some are added from the kiosk. So everything that is added along the way will show up in this list. The pick list and shortage sheet functionality is automated. So depending on the item setup, it will check first the project warehouse, and then it'll check the item warehouse. And so it'll fill from the project warehouse first, and then it'll fill from the item warehouse if there's not enough in the project warehouse. And then if there's still not enough, it would automatically create a purchase order, or it could use the substitutions if that's allowed. So it's a really cool functionality, and all that we have to do is basically click our list and then release the item request, and that creates a sales order, which is called an item request sales order, and that's how all of this gets processed. But you can see some of this is already processed, like there is a PO outstanding for this part. And then you can also see the status of the PO and everything from this screen. So it's really cool. So now I want to go over, so keeping in mind, we're still talking about item requirements and the shortages and the pick list. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the shortages sheet. So this is another GI, and this can be made to your specifications, but basically this is saying, hey, we need to pull all of these. These are our shortages. We need to do some work on this. And again, we have a fast tab here that we can work on from. In fact, we can even do purchase orders from this Fast tab. Or you can process it through purchase requisitions all the way through purchase orders and do processes that way. So it just depends upon your business process as to how you want this to work. Once the project is completed, so all the parts have been ordered and all the repairs have been done and everything has been completed on the project, it comes full circle and we can go back to our MRO dashboard. And there we can see, hey, we have some project invoices pending. So once we have those invoices pending, we just click on those invoices pending, and then we can work those invoices from here. And again, you have a Fast tab here that you can work with. And that really basically is what I'm going to present today. Everything that you enter into the system can be shown on the invoices or on, it can be reported on. Basically, anything you enter, all data can be reported on. So your invoices can be as simple or as complex as required. It's a really exciting system and has lots of benefits. And that's all I have time to show today. So I'm going to turn it back over to Bob.
Micah, real quick. So I just want to clarify a couple of things. The CRM, do you need CRM to work? I don't believe you need CRM to work with ProMRO. Is that correct?
No, you don't need CRM to work with ProMRO. It just has some benefits for sales, obviously. Like you can do the sales funnel and things like that and track wins and losses and why, so that maybe you can edit how, I guess change what you quote or pricing or things like that. Maybe you're quoting too high or competition is high. But no, you do not need CRM to use ProMRO.
And then we did have a question. Is this, and I can answer this, but I thought I'd bring it up to you. Users, unlimited users, correct? So we don't have a per user license fee on the ERP or on ProMRO.
Correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Yep, unlimited users and access from anywhere with the internet.
Very nice. And I know that one of the greater values that I see in this with customers I talk to, I know you and I work with clients together, is that the real-time functionality, the fact that at any point, what you're looking at is real time. Everybody's looking at the same version of truth at the same snapshot in time.
Absolutely, Bob. And that is so beneficial in so many ways because, hey, if we need a part AOG quick as we can get it, we have access to where that, what the status is of that 24/7. So yeah, real-time information.
It's really exciting. I know we're a little bit early. There is going to be a survey that we'd like you to answer the questions on the way out. We appreciate you spending your time together. It looked like there may have been connection issues with a few of you folks. And if that's the case, there's some contact information on the screen right now. Please reach out. We can schedule a deeper dive or even just a specific one if you want to see the presentation, if you missed part of it. And we can answer any questions that apply directly to your company. But we do appreciate the time together. Thank you for answering the questions. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you all enjoyed your lunch. We will be at MRO Americas down next week in Orlando. If anybody's going to be there, come see us at the booth. Is there anything? Go ahead, Nancy. Is there anything I'm missing?
Booth 744.
Booth 744, not 747 like All right. Well, we appreciate you all joining us today. Look out for future webinars with Clients First. We do a lot of different projects, and we look forward to talking to you in the future. Thank you, Nancy and Micah, for your time also. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.